Sometimes these things happen in MMA.
For August 15th through the 21st. First up, Ronda Rousey announced on Good Morning America that she won't be facing Miesha Tate and in fact Holly Holm. So much for UFC President Dana White's word. A 56,000-seat stadium show has been announced for UFC 193 in Melbourne, Australia. Headlining the event is the 170-pound title fight between Robbie Lawler and Carlos Condit. Also announced for the card is a rematch between Mark Hunt and Antonio Bigfoot Silva, as well as a fight between Michael Bisping and Robert Whittaker. Anthony Rumble Johnson is back in the news. He's decided to take to Facebook to rant and insult this woman from his gym and throw her yoga mat across the gym. UFC officials have enlisted an outside source, a lawyer, to investigate the situation. The Barn Cat is back. He has re-signed with the UFC. Tamden McCrory, after a 6-year hiatus. McCrory had 2 very impressive finishes in Bellator, which likely led to his return. Brock Lesnar also in the news again in the MMA world because he stated that WWE President Vince McMahon is a much better promoter than UFC President Dana White. Take it for what it is. Now, there's a Brazilian woman, Kimberly Novas. She won a title in Brazil a little while ago while she was 3 months pregnant. Go figure. Now, a welterweight slugfest has been added to Bellator 144 as Brennan Ward takes on Michael Venom Page. And 2 former UFC vets, Jason High and Mike Ricci, have signed a World Series of Fighting. Now on to some fight announcements. There were a slew of them over the last week. I announced the Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm already, but here's just a list going down some of the ones that have been added, some of the big names that have been announced this week. Jessica Andrade steps in and takes on Raquel Pennington in a rematch at UFC 191. Uriah Hall takes on Gegard Mousasi at UFC Fight Night 75 in Japan. Victor Pesta in for Anthony Hamilton against Derek Lewis at UFC 192. Tom Lawler returns to the cage to take on Fabio Maldonado, a big slugfest there at UFC Fight Night 77. Also on that card, Abel Trujillo faces Gleison Tibau, and Patrick Cummins takes on Glover Teixeira, which is an interesting matchup in that light heavyweight division. Cummins looking to climb the ranks, Glover looking to get back up to the top. Now, the Tough 22 finale had a couple fights announced, actually a few fights announced. Joe Lozon versus Evan Dunham, Mike Pierce versus Ryan LaFleur, and the return of Khabib Nurmagomedov, who will take on Tony Ferguson. Finally, at UFC 194, Warlley Alves takes on Colby Covington. That is it for Sometimes These Things Happen in MMA for the week of August 15th through 21st. Join me next week for another edition.